I think his point was that the act of writing. Because now when I write online, right, there's autocorrect. And now I use ChatGPT,
yes.
right? So even putting together, like now you ask me to write an essay or something, right? I'm like, wow, fuck. That's going to be hard, lah.
Do you think like your wedding speech and everything, if it was today, would you have run it through ChatGPT?
No, I don't think I would have.
You don't think so?
I don't think I would.
Before the next episode of the Yellow Bud podcast, here's a message from Folklory. If I were to ask you who you love and are thankful for, you probably can give me a list of names. But do they know how much you really appreciate them? Have you ever told them personally? We know this doesn't happen often, even for us personally. And that's why we started Folklory. If you would like to say a big thanks to a loved one, we'll interview you over a call and turn that conversation into a podcast that they can listen to on their own. We'll make it as conversational and as easy as possible, and it can be done in as little as 1 week. For more info, check out folklory.com or click on the link in the description. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
The first full week of the year.
Yes. Exciting.
Exciting.
Yeah.
How was your weekend, man?
Okay, I'm just doing a lot of decluttering at home in advance of Chinese New Year also. But in general, I think it's a good exercise to just declutter a little bit at the start of the year, right? Always, and you find a lot of old stuff around the house that you don't need and you move it around and all.
But do you ever find yourself getting distracted by like, hey, shit, I haven't seen this for a damn long time. Let me fiddle around with this.
Yeah, of course. All my old games and stuff like that. PS3 and all these things.
But net positive in terms of decluttering.
Yeah. I did the whole get rid of all my army gear stuff as well. Because I already, ORD, right?
ROD.
ROD, sorry, ROD, or whatever you call it, out of service. But I always just kept everything around, as a vestige of the past, you know. But now you can actually go to Safra locations. There's this giant bin. Yeah, you throw everything in.
Oh.
So it was just, even your helmet and your SBO and stuff like that.
You didn't want to sell on Carousel?
You can't, right? It's
I know, like, joke lah. I know lah.
Joke's supposed to be funny. What's so funny about that? But yeah, you still have yours hanging around, I suppose. Still got. In case you're called back one day to be an officer and to fulfill your dreams, right?
Of what, being condescending towards people, is it?
Yeah, in the military, using a rank and everything.
You know me well.
But you cannot throw it out there, yeah, right?
Yeah, I cannot. Because I think for officers it's what, 45 or
50,
something? 50, yeah.
50. So you still got many years.
One more decade.
Yeah.
One more decade. But it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm clear on my commitments already.
Clear.
Yeah.
So as you threw it in, did you see do you feel a part of your Singapore identity get lost or
not? But that's the thing, if you approach it with too much nostalgia about everything, then you end up keeping everything in your life, right?
Yeah.
But these things, I think that some things are better left to memory, right? Or you can keep one little patch or something like that you got from it, but nothing more. So I encourage anyone who's hoarding all these things, in the hope that you can recapture your youth one day, let it go and just be present.
Because I think you definitely also know people who they love reservists,
Yeah,
they love it. And there's it's good if there's a pride in it, and all, but sometimes it feels like, hey, have you let go of your position in the army or not?
Yeah. I know some people who actively volunteer to extend their time, whether it's officers or even not even officers sometimes, or they volunteer their time outside of reservists to do stuff for the SAF and all. And I don't know. There's sometimes it crosses the line between service to the country versus just wanting to rub shoulders with other like-minded people, right?
So cynical, no, Terrence.
No. I saw it firsthand. Where someone very senior from my unit who was obviously trying to pursue a career in politics, right? Possibly as outside of his job and everything like that, took NS more seriously than most people do, and because of that, volunteered everyone that worked with him for a lot of additional nonsense.
So you kena collateral volunteer.
I was the collateral damage. And then when you're in the middle of it, you're like, why is this person doing all this? Why is he volunteering us for all this crap? And then later you see a photo of him doing low hay with Lee Hsien Loong at a PAP event. Then you know, okay, that makes sense now.
You contributed to his political rise.
Yeah, and that's why I dislike when people use the military as a pawn in their game to try and enter the upper echelons of Singapore.
They want to be friends of SAF.
Yeah.
Friends of SAF.
More than friends of SAF, friends of the establishment.
Friends of the establishment.
Mm.
But yeah.
But that's my...
So a lot of thoughts over the
weekend. while throwing away my field pack in that big bin.
How long were you throwing there for, sir? Or after you threw, then after that when you were leaving, you were just reflecting?
The crazy thing is that there's so much army stuff that we have, that I have accumulated over the years, like different generations of it, that I dug out one, I threw it, and then I went back home and I found more, and then I had to go again and throw it.
Oh, is it?
So it's like a half-day kind of event. Just ridding myself of the green.
And now you only have things that spark joy at home, is it?
I try my best. Have you done your spring cleaning?
Not say spring cleaning, because right now, every
wait, you're accumulating a lot of things now, right?
Now it's accumulating. And we haven't reached the point where our kid is old enough that we can start handing stuff over. I think reaching there, because she already can't fit some of the clothes.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's net accumulating. So it's all about organizing. The weekend is like, fuck, this clothes here, what can we do? Because we're trying to let our place not become just kid all over it. No furniture cleared in exchange for a playmat. We have a playmat, but it's you move around when you need it. So still okay.
Yeah.
But at some point it will start encroaching onto everything.
Yeah, you need to start kid-proofing your house
kid-proofing and all that. Yeah. So no decluttering yet. I think decluttering is a process as you organize. Hey, this one no need anymore. And you find a way to give it away or some shit like that.
Yeah. The problem is that these young babies and toddlers, they grow so fast. So in 3 months, 6 months, you might need to change everything that you have again.
Exactly.
Whether it's even your furniture and stuff like that.
Correct.
So you can't rest on your laurels. You can't I set shit up, I'm done for the year.
Not yet. But it's an ongoing process. Ongoing process. But you're feeling the CNY vibes.
I mean, you have to, right? The
music is wow.
Not just the music, all the decorations now have all they swapped over already.
I've been seeing a lot of cars also decorated like crazy. Ang pao stuck to the cars. I mean, not the most tastefully designed, but clearly in anticipation of Chinese New Year.
Yeah. Maybe larger population of immigrants as well.
Is that a thing Chinese they do overseas?
I mean, Chinese New Year is a big deal in China, right? And when they come here, maybe they're very excited about celebrating it as well. Because in China, when I was there, Christmas doesn't figure at all. There are a few decorations here and there at hotels and more Western.
So no Christmas trees or anything.
Very few. And then you don't hear Mariah Carey blasting the air or anything like that, So it's really now is really the time when things start ratcheting up. People getting ready for Chinese New Year. So we'll start feeling more of that in Singapore.
I think already. It's you go into any shopping center, any mall, the music all is blaring already.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm actually quite desensitized. It's only when I stop and okay, there's Chinese New Year songs. But okay lah.
But irritated with Chinese people?
No.
Okay.
Totally fine. Totally fine. Today I came to office, I saw you, I saw Tristen, I was like, my Chinese friend. I'm fine. It's all good, man. All good.
But you can go to all these Chinese fairs at Takashimaya, all that. Chinese New Year bazaars and all. And eat a lot of free samples of pineapple tarts. You like that shit, right? You like that.
The free samples,
What do you call it? Jam tarts. Jam tarts.
No, I actually don't like jam tarts.
You don't like jam tarts?
It's too sweet.
And you call pineapple tarts jam tarts because of...
my family upbringing. If you meet my family, you say pineapple tarts, you're like, it's I have to think of it, but jam tarts.
Yeah.
Jam tarts. That's what it's called.
Is it just your family or
what is the Cindy thing?
Cindy's or what?
Maybe you try. Next time we see Rishi, you're like, hey, you like jam tarts or not? He's like, bro, I fucking love jam tarts.
Because I try to understand,
why?
You don't eat pineapple jam, right? You don't eat pineapple jam, right? On a daily basis, right? I'm sure there is, but you don't eat pineapple jam. So why do you call them jam tarts as opposed to just pineapple tarts?
Actually, I don't know also. I mean, my mom used to make like jam tarts from when she was young, and the process is like really making pineapple jam.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's called jam tarts.
I see.
I really don't know.
Maybe you need to go back to India and like follow your roots and try to understand the etymology of jam tarts.
Maybe maybe you go to Sindh or like about India, you ask
Jam
pineapple tarts, you're like, what the hell are you talking about? You got jam tarts or not? That's interesting. Yeah. Maybe actually amongst my wider family, I'll see whether it's pineapple tarts or jam tarts.
Yeah. And then you go to this Chinese New Year bazaar and you go around correcting all the store owners and say, hey, you're not selling pineapple tarts, it's jam tarts. Hello, you live in multicultural Singapore.
Okay, so here's like a call out to anyone listening who actually uses or has heard the phrase jam tarts, not from somewhere else apart from this podcast. Please let us know in Reddit.
Yeah.
Please assure me that my family is not just weird that way. If you are Cindy.
Yeah. But it might be like, I know. I just prep you for the possibility.
Yeah, history tends to point at that.
Yeah, correct. And very, very apt topic because, we're going to talk about how our command of English in Singapore is below standards, right?
Yeah. Correct.
But yeah, before all that, we want to just, what's the usual spiel that we give to people?
The spiel is that if you're new to this podcast or you've been listening to for a while, but you haven't told someone who may not have heard of us about us yet, please do. Please share them an episode. Follow us on social media because we got shorter clips there that you can also share. Instagram, TikTok, our wonderful Reddit community. Just leave us a rating if you can. That always helps the algorithm.
And if you want to work with us, check out ministryoffunny.com or contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Hell yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, the first topic is kind of like a high level, somewhat general thing that wasn't a specific event that happened. But it's just that over the past month, there was a report that was done by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD, Program for International Assessment of Adult Competencies, the PIAAC. It was a PIAC done by the OECD. Yeah, it was a PIAC. It was a PIAC done by the OECD.
That's why our English standards are failing. Because of these stupid jokes we make.
So, I mean, there were the articles that came out early December, like December 10, 11, that had headlines like, Singapore improves in OECD ranking of adult skills, but atrophy in literacy a concern. Singapore's adult literacy, numeracy, proficiency rankings improve study finds. But the latest one that came out on CNA like a couple of days ago, Singapore adults' ability to read or write in English is below OECD average. What is the problem? And he went on to talk about, because apparently in the ages of amongst the ages of 55 to 65, Singapore is 27th place out of 31 countries when it comes to literacy skills.
Yeah.
Which you compare when it comes to 15-year-olds, because in 2022, Singapore 15-year-olds emerged as the top performers for reading in the OECD PIAC. That's not the PIAC, that's the PISA, Program for International Student Assessment. So this article just spends time talking about why there is a decline in literacy rates in Singaporeans as they get older.
Yeah.
Because after 35, it seems to go downhill.
And it's alarming because it kind of shows that our students are top, right?
Yeah.
Very, very, very doing very well. But then the rate of decline of our literacy, all that goes down, especially past 35 to 44, the age range, which means that over the years, everything that we picked up as students, we seem to be losing it, right, very quickly, faster than other countries.
Yeah, faster than other countries. That I think is the big thing. It's faster than other countries. But I mean, when you saw this, what made you want to talk about this, Terence?
Because it's an interesting, assessment of Singaporean adults, right? Our ability to read and write in English, which we have always taken pride. We've always taken pride of, right? That we Singaporeans are all conversant and fluent in English, and that's why we can work internationally. We can, have MNCs come here and they integrate very easily as well. But this tells us that we are, a lot worse, right? Especially as full-grown adults, and that also points to, the question why Singaporeans can't become like top CEOs in big international organizations in the West or anything like that. Because, this kind of says that, hey, the average Singaporean worker beyond a certain age actually becomes worse at communications than people from other countries.
Yeah.
So it's quite alarming to see this.
But I mean, okay, so the one thing good is that the report, unlike many other reports that we talk about, is publicly available. You can download the entire PDF. It is damn long.
Yeah.
There's a Singapore-specific question report. So you can find all that info out there. But, the one thing I'm still wrapping my head around is that, okay, so the study evaluated 5,000 Singaporeans and permanent residents aged 16 to 65 using tests conducted in English to assess literacy, numeracy, and adaptive problem-solving skills. So apparently, Singapore's score remains steady as compared with the last cycle of the study, remaining below the OECD average.
Yeah.
Which to me is like, okay, even the last cycle, Singapore is below, but its ranking rose to 18th out of 31 countries, up from 28 out of 39 countries. So generally, our literacy is increasing, right? But it's just for this age group, it seems to decline after they go 35. But isn't it a bit of a stretch to say that the trend of 35-year-olds is they decline after that? Because the age group you're sampling is 55, around 55 at the time of sampling. They were not sampled like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I'm a little bit like, how is this judgment or trend being pointed out?
But isn't it the comparison to other countries, doesn't that like kind of level everything out?
Oh, that's true.
Because everyone is, across the age range in each country, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the comparison is fair when you make it between countries and not between...
Because it's relative,
Yeah, not between eras, right?
Because it's not the same people being surveyed 20 years apart, but there is that trend. Okay, that makes a bit more sense because, it is less than other countries.
Yeah.
But without going into the details of this article and all, if I were to ask you, hey, Terence, if I come up to you on the street, Terence, the literacy rates of 35-year-olds in Singapore tend to dip.
Yeah.
Why would you think so?
I think some people online have also pointed out the fact that we are a multi-racial, multicultural society kind of actually adds to this issue, right? Where the more entrenched you are in Singapore, especially as an older person and all, you tend to speak whatever people speak here, right? And whatever allows you to be understood within your own little bubble. And in Singapore, because we have a mishmash of a lot of different cultures and languages, you just take a little bit from each of them and you never really focus or specialize on each of them. And maybe because there's less opportunities to practice like formal English and things like that compared to school, so those skills deteriorate over time because you're mostly just using it to converse with people on the street or buying food and stuff like that. So as compared to maybe in other countries where actually as you move up the ranks of senior management in companies and things, you probably have to start presenting better and put yourself out there in a more professional setting. Whereas maybe Singapore, because of the way we are structured in society, where like basically broad understanding of all languages actually might be more useful than like just focusing on one. Maybe that's where because this one specifically measures English, right?
Yeah,
English literacy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where our English, comprehension and writing isn't as good over the years.
Yeah, that multicultural thing does make sense. And if you think about it, okay, while it's relative, Singapore is also a super young country. Right? They did point out that this earlier onset of decline in literacy is seen in countries like Hungary, Lithuania, Poland, and South Korea. Yeah. So as much as, yes, relatively Singapore, there's a trend like that. But if you look at Singapore itself, the people who are 35, 45, 55, their lives, right, have changed so much.
Yeah.
And I would guess that it has changed a lot more, like Singapore as a country, than 35, 45, 55-year-olds in other countries. Where maybe the rate of development was not as steep. So I think that might be a reason because it feels like, okay, this new generation, as they get older, hopefully there's less of an issue, but the people who are 55 lived such a different life from the people who are even 45, 35 and 25.
Yeah.
And I would harbor a guess that it's a bigger difference compared to other countries.
But here's my question to you, right? As someone who's in that exact age range when stuff starts declining, right? Is it more useful for you to speak English really well, or being able to understand a bit more about all the different languages in Singapore, like a little bit of each language, right? Which one has become more useful to you as you age?
I think the latter, which
means
is
understanding more languages.
Understanding or just being more comfortable, in some way code switching also. Yeah, I think that has become more useful given our line of work, given maybe the way I like to do things and all. Yeah, I would say the latter. Yeah, for you?
No, I think definitely being an adult, like being able to understand, being able to speak to more different types of people, different demographics, different languages, being able to find ways to relate to them, helps your life a lot more, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you are talking to the person serving you food. Sometimes you're talking to people like the handyman who comes to your house that doesn't speak English and things like that, right? It helps you a lot more in adult life to be able to understand a bit more of each language, I find. And even like traveling as well. When you travel for work, understanding more about a little bit about each language and all actually helps you a lot more in terms of just understanding the context of where you're going, whether it's China or Malaysia or things like that, a lot better. Whereas if I just stuck to my Raffles Institution education and just focused on English literature and my formal English or that,
then you'll be a douche.
You come across as such sometimes when trying to speak to
when you correct other people.
Yes.
Oh, it's omelette instead of omelette.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I mean omelette is that's not a great example because I think most people will actually come across as douches.
Another joke, Terrence.
By your definition.
Another joke.
But being like really good at formal English or that, just over the years, hasn't been as big of an advantage.
But then, do you think your own command of the English language has gotten better or worse over time? Now that you are past 35 also.
Yeah.
Right.
Better. Yeah. But I mean, I have made a concerted effort to read more things that I would not read when I was younger. When I was young, I read it because it was part of school or something, right? But now in my older age, I enjoy reading a lot more. I enjoy long form reading, especially not just like, stuff on social media and all. So the command of the language has gotten stronger and understanding the nuances of language as well. But that also comes from understanding other languages as well, what I've realized.
Is it?
Yeah. Understanding a bit more about Chinese grammar.
Has made you understand English more.
Has made me appreciate languages, or at least like different languages a lot more. That allows me to enjoy the process a lot more. But yourself, like, do you find that you've gotten worse or better? Or better over time?
I think maybe what they define as adaptive problem solving skills, where I think one of the articles has an example. They say, okay, here's an email from your child's preschool or something, and tell us which of the rules in the notice on the right has been kind of waived off in respect of this childcare thing. And you say, okay, that is what they mean by adaptive. They give you a passage and you have to infer stuff. I think that one for me has increased. But I think my spelling, has gone fuck all.
Omelette.
That one pronunciation. That one. No, like, okay, now I have to think, okay, simultaneous. How do you spell T-A? You have to think. Or like, I think that day I was getting pissed off that there was one word that I kept thinking, why can't I spell it? It was
tip of the tongue kind of thing.
Yeah, then it was an A and an E,
I see.
That kind of thing. So I think I have become a lot more dependent on autocorrect.
Yeah. Autocorrect and ChatGPT, right?
And ChatGPT also. Yeah. And I mean, even now, like, how often do you write, right? And you hear a lot of people say why the writing is so important, because it allows you to take this jumble of thoughts in your head into something that is linear, that you can read, that helps with your thinking. And I totally believe that. It's just I don't write often. And I think like, even writing now is like, fuck. So you get dependent on all these other technology. And I mean, when I think about the older generation, like all the uncles and aunties in my WhatsApp chat, the English is terrible because they use short form words. Because for them, technology has also been a big change. So instead of like YOU, it's you, and then that is DAT. So and there's a lot of emojis.
Yeah.
But I mean, they can communicate. Is it the most professional? No. When you speak to them, the English is good. But I think maybe there's a lot of that and social media in general also. People are reading less.
Correct, yeah. People are reading less. And I
Yeah.
think we're using a lot more shorthand
Yeah.
for everything, like, especially when we send messages to each other.
Yeah.
But does that go against, does it make it harder for people to like make presentations and things like that, you think?
I mean, okay, so I think in business comms, it could be a problem because when you go on Reddit, a lot of people share damn funny instances of how they would send something to their boss, like an email or something, and it comes back corrected with incorrect grammar. I think one example was like, will revert back to all the stuffs.
Yeah.
And then the comment was like, okay, now I will go turn into a series of wooden poles. Then I was like, wow, fuck, this is damn funny. So I think when it comes to comms, I think it might not be presentation, but it might just be a grammar mistake here and there, which could affect the impression or the impression someone has of you if you're dealing with them for the first time. And you're doing sales and all where you're reaching out the first time, they don't know you. It just looks, this is very unprofessional.
Yeah, correct. But again, just sticking to my recent travels to China, going around there's a lot of English translation of like Chinese words, right? And a lot of these brands that are very big in China but don't necessarily have a footprint outside of China, right? They love to use English words in their marketing and all. But all the English terms and phrases they use are all grammatically, there's just something off about it, right? And then like the little slogans that they put on the t-shirts, also something grammatically off and all. But it's ubiquitous, it's everywhere, right? And it's not confined to one brand or one chain. It's all of them are the same. There's just something a bit off about the English that they use that they I suspect that they do it because it makes them feel and look international, right? When they have English slogans and things like that. But the slogans are always something a bit off about it. But the fact that, all these China brands are all pouring into Singapore and going out of China to the rest of the world already, right? I think we'll start seeing a lot more of these like slightly grammatically off slogans and all creeping into our advertising and all. So I believe it's a trend that also very hard to stop entirely, where you're going to see like even grammatical errors in advertisements and things like that also.
But maybe if they come to the Singapore market, it'll be different because a lot of ads are in English.
Correct, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And there might be a bit more proofreading or something.
I mean, we hope so. But you never know, these kind of things. How do they even prioritize the Singapore market for that?
That's
right?
True.
Like at the end of the day, they think about Asia as one market. Singapore's just a sliver of that. They might not prioritize for Singapore, and they just want to get their slogan across, Yeah.
I mean, like this one, I think a big part of the article was also talking about how we all need to read more. But I mean, reading for me is one of the things I know I need to do more. But it's a struggle to just read. I'm much more comfortable reading articles on my computer than a book.
Yeah.
And I think I want to take the dive into my wife and I just found this old Kindle we have been using. And I think the romantic idea of opening up this book now is anytime I want to read, right? Yeah. Having that is very helpful.
Correct.
But reading, it does, you have to set aside time for it.
It does.
Yeah.
You do.
So, but a lot of the second half of the article is about how, as Singaporeans, we need to read more. And I don't know, I just read it, I was like, this is so prescriptive. It's again yes, everybody knows we should read, but it's tough to find time.
Yeah.
But they were waxing lyrical about how, reading helps you understand cultures differently and stuff like that, which I felt a bit preachy.
I was just at the library over the weekend, spent a bit of time there. Our library system is amazing. The NLB app, and being able to borrow ebooks from your app and all. It's like being a kid in a candy shop. You just walk in and there's everything that you could possibly be interested in and you want to read. So I think Singaporeans, maybe we don't, especially the adults, we don't take advantage of that. So I would say get an e-reader, but don't get a Kindle because Kindle doesn't allow you to read the National Library books on the Kindle because it's a proprietary system.
Correct.
So not an ad, but I go with a Kobo e-reader, and it's amazing. It helps you it helps you scratch the itch of needing to look at the screen before you sleep. So I know it sounds counterintuitive.
No, it's true. I get it.
We all know we shouldn't be looking at screen before you go to bed, right?
Yeah.
But our brains are now wired to do so. If we want to look at screens, So the e-reader allows you to look at the screen, but all you can do is just read. Right?
And it's e-ink, so it's not down the blue light and shit like that,
blue
right?
light in your ear and in your face. And I realized it helps you sort of wind down, relax your brain a bit. Even if you just read a page or two, it's just the process of reading the e-reader helps me wind down my brain a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course, there are times I don't, and I just reach for my phone and I'm watching football highlights and all that. But having the e-reader there just as a physical option to get away from my phone is good.
But then if you are borrowing ebooks, why you have to go to the library?
I mean, the ebooks are great for a certain age group. When you have a kid, you go to the library because it really is like you're in a candy shop and they just pull any book that they want to read and this picture books are amazing. Oh yeah, e-readers can't do picture books very well. Because the color.
You give your kid an e-reader right now, you read it.
Yeah, they're not interested. They're interested in the iPad, they're interested in the phone, but they're not interested in e-reader because it's nothing but words.
Black and white, right?
Now there's color. Now the e-readers are colored.
With e-ink.
E-ink color, yeah.
Oh.
But they're not the most, the colors are not that contrasty and all that. So it's very hard to read comics and all. But I mean, we're at this age where the NLB is like this golden resource that I think I'm kind of sad that I only discovered it so late in my life. I could have been like a doctor or a lawyer if I had actually read.
Well, look at you. You just went down the path of being a podcaster, Terrence.
Content
both
creator.
of us disappointing our families for 10 years already now.
Yeah. 10 years and counting.
Yeah. But I mean, interesting. So I mean, just over the weekend also, I happened to see some tweets about the problems that AI is going to be facing in the next few years, which made me feel like, oh fuck, generally, okay, I think I myself find myself relying a lot on technology like Google Maps, right?
Yeah.
I remember last time my dad would tell me, okay, if I ask him for directions, say, okay, you take bus 23, you get off at the 7th bus stop, you walk past 2 traffic lights, you turn right, and then I'm like, I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
And he had it all mapped out. Now, without Google Maps, I mean, I don't think my directions are bad. It's just I don't want to have to think about it. So I think there's some intellectual capacities that is getting blurred while maybe other things are getting sharpened.
Yeah.
But then when I saw those tweets, someone pointed out something that I never thought of before. He was saying the next shockwave that is going to rock the AI thing is that now AI is being trained on human-generated content. But there's so much AI-generated content that at some point AI is going to train itself on AI-generated content.
Yeah.
Which means that if you take out humans, right, then the AI is going to go off a cliff also, which made it a point that, okay, we need to carry on creating content as humans. But I feel like we are approaching the cusp where everyone is just going to get dumber for a while before we become smart again. Yeah. Smarter again.
Will we even become smart again, you think?
Oh no, okay, so the output might be smarter. I don't know whether we individually will be smart, but with all this ChatGPT in your brain and shit like that, right? Your output might be smarter, but individually, right, I can't imagine us actually... Okay, no, I think you can get smarter in certain parts, but I think certain skills will be lost. And there's one very good essay by Paul Graham, who is this god of Silicon Valley, who I think has been my one Shiok Thing before. He wrote this essay on writing and why he loves to write. Yeah. And he said what he foresees is that, maybe in our parents' generation or the generation of hard labor, everybody was generally quite fit because it was part of their work.
Yeah.
Now, fast forward, the only people who are fit are people who try to exercise to keep fit because you don't need to be fit.
Yeah.
And his thought process is that writing is going to be that. Everyone is going to suck at writing, but the people who want to write will have to actively work at writing, but he feels that's a lost skill. So then when I read all this, I'm like, oh shit, we are getting better ingrained with technology, but our own capacities, maybe something is inevitable.
But when I hear that, a couple of things. One, the idea that everyone was fitter before, not necessarily in the way that we think of fitness, right? Where just because you're doing back-breaking work every day doesn't necessarily mean that you are the fittest person, right?
Or maybe less sedentary.
Less sedentary. Okay,
less sedentary, Fitness was a bit of a stretch. Less sedentary.
Because you see a lot of, farmers or that who, they did back-breaking work their whole lives.
And now their backs are...
Now they're screwed. They're hunched over and everything, and not necessarily healthy, right?
Yeah.
Whereas you see people in the blue zones and all that, who, they're not that they were farmers or anything before, but they did the things like they walked every day and they did exercise, actual exercise, right? And they're healthy. So that's one thing. Second thing is, can't you say the same about the skill of like calligraphy, right? Of writing, writing text in a certain way, words in a certain way. Yeah, over the years, as ballpoint pen and pencil got introduced, all that, people continued.
Shitty handwriting.
Yeah, the handwriting became shittier, but it didn't mean that the quality of the writing, that means the quality of the content and the thought that goes behind the content, necessarily went down the drain, right? It's just the method of creating words and piecing them together.
Good,
So now, typing is the norm, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that writing will necessarily become worse, right?
But then I think his point was that the act of writing, because now when I write online, right, there's autocorrect, and now I use ChatGPT,
yes.
right? So even putting together, like now you ask me to write an essay or something, right? I'm like, wow, fuck, that's gonna be hard, lah.
Do you think like your wedding speech and everything, if it was today, would you have run it through ChatGPT?
No, I don't think I would have.
You don't think so?
I don't think I would have.
But maybe that's the thing, like you keep ChatGPT for the really inane, boring stuff that you don't want to deal with, like emails at work and responses to emails and stuff like that.
But it creeps in, man. You don't find it?
It does. But that's why we have to guard against using it for stuff that we want to feel heartfelt, right? Like I mean, your wedding vows and things like that. Like maybe there should be a ban on using ChatGPT for wedding vows.
A plagiarism thing, you run your partner's vows through the software and like, hey, you can use ChatGPT.
Like even if it's grammatically a little bit wrong, I think it's acceptable, right? If it's at least it comes from the heart, So I'm glad that my wife and I, our wedding vows were written during a time when there was no ChatGPT, But yours also, no ChatGPT. You better go and check your wife's one. You go and read through, listen to it.
No, so she likes writing.
Oh, she likes. Okay,
she likes writing. And she has explained why and all. It's a lot of stuff that I've heard people say. It's just something. It just takes everything, this mush in your head, and puts it down. And there's something they enjoy playing with words and all. For me, no. I think I've said before, like even writing the TV shows we've written, I always fucking hate the writing process. It's damn painful. I enjoy it. I enjoy it a bit more. You enjoy writing?
It's a bit different.
So I mean, like maybe it's something we all have to deal with. Like certain parts of our brain are being blurred.
But I get what you're saying, where maybe there's this period where we all going to get a bit dumber. I think maybe what that really means is that there's this period where we're adjusting to how this technology is integrated into our lives, and there will be some cases of overreach, of the technology, and then we will scale back a bit. We'll put certain things in place to make sure that papers in universities are not all like AI generated gibberish and all. Because that's where our original thought comes from, right? Where people have an original idea, and then they just come out with it themselves, rather than rely on what has been done before to produce it for them.
So I mean, this study is still interesting, but it didn't take into account a lot of other things. But interesting that for Singapore this is an issue.
But to your earlier point about the maps thing, right, where the previous generation, they understand maps all that better compared to us.
No, I think they place a lot more emphasis. Like when there was a new bus that would go past our house, he would take it and just go the whole route.
And study the route and everything.
But
I mean, don't you think that is kind of like what the technology is meant to reduce the burden on ourselves for?
So I'm a fan of that.
So I have no romance about being able to understand the Singapore routes perfectly and all that. In fact, that's the realm of transport enthusiasts now, right? Bus enthusiasts, train enthusiasts. Whereas now, honestly, you should be relying on Google Maps, because it can also tell you where traffic is heavy and accidents you should avoid and stuff like that. So why would you not want to use Google Maps, right?
But then now you ask me off the top of my head, I want to go from point A to point B. Which expressway should I take? I'm like, the KPE goes
But I also feel that is because Singapore it changes a lot. We have a lot of construction work and closed roads and all the things like that. So we also cannot be 100% reliant on your memory to.
And the bigger question is why do you need to care?
Why do you need to care?
Why do you need to care?
As long as you get to point A, point B, right?
While driving, I can talk to my wife. I can look at the scenery,
solve bigger problems. Exactly.
Rather than look 20 meters later, whatever pass. No.
I'm one of those guys very kanchong when I take bus. I must count the bus stops and I have Google Maps on all the time to make sure that I don't miss the bus.
Oh, you're that kind,
And then must press the bus stop button damn early. Before we even halfway
I'm
there.
sure got times you press at the wrong bus stop, then you just avoid eye contact.
I'm that guy. Oh, I pressed too late lah. Then oh shit.
Sorry. Yeah,
I'm that guy.
you're that guy, man. You're that
That's
guy.
right.
But yeah, I mean, interesting. The study is available there, like which is great. We'll put a link in the show notes also.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
But that's the problem that we have as a first world country. But Singapore now, we are so first world that we have other types of there are people who they feel that life in Singapore is so first world that sometimes they want to do stuff that is less connected to AI and technology and all these things and nobody exemplifies it better than this Google employee right? And what did he do?
So this guy is a French national and Singapore PR. His name is Jan Eik Bachir. Probably pronouncing it wrongly, but okay, let's call him Jan. So he is an AI specialist at Google. 43-year-old guy. And at night, right, he actually delivers food as part of one of those food delivery services through Grab. And donates all the proceeds of that to charity. So apparently, based on his LinkedIn post, he's been doing it for a while, but a journalist from CNA reached out and they wrote an article, and it's been shared quite a lot over the weekend. Also, quite a few people just shared it in groups I'm in. There's also a lot of chatter online because this guy, I mean, he was very open. He said that he earns a good salary during his day job, but he wanted to do good, donate to charities, and also not be disconnected from local communities here. So basically, they stated while he declined to disclose his salary, the Juchet resident told the journalist that he is a high-earning tech worker and that this, coupled with his background as an expat, made him concerned that he would become rather disconnected from local communities. So apparently, delivering food through Grab keeps him grounded. He's been here since 2009. So he does it at night. And when I first read it, I was like, okay, maybe this guy is, single, got time. No, he's a father of 2 kids. Then
and a high-level job at
high-level job, And he's not just joining. You go to his LinkedIn page. He has a public profile. He has his own newsletter. Seems like a nice guy. He's been in the tech industry for 20 years. So he's not just an executive starting out. Then I'm like, oh, wow, this guy, impressive lah. Of course, Reddit, there's that baseline saltiness lah. I think there was one that said, wow, this one next level expat. Take a higher earning job during the day. At night, take a Grab job.
Both want to take from Singaporeans. Don't give chance. Proceeds to mock you by donating Grab earnings anyway.
You're like, fuck, man. But yeah, so did you see this article over the weekend?
I did, yeah.
Did someone share it with you? Or?
No, I just saw it on my algorithm, the video,
Then?
I mean, I thought it's... Okay, generally, I think there's different types of foreign workers who come to Singapore, right? And I over the years, I've met many different expats, so to speak, especially from Western countries. And I think they also exist on a spectrum, right? Some of them really are living like the expat life where they live in the little bubbles and they don't have any local friends, and they don't want to have any local friends. They're not interested in that. They're just interested to meet other expats and all that. Then there's those on the other end of the spectrum who, they understand the privilege they have in moving to Singapore and living here and enjoying a lot of the things that we take for granted as locals, and they do their little bits to be part of the local community, and honestly, it's really quite it's quite nice, right? Like, I mean, even recently, my kid I brought him to go and watch a Singapore football match, right? And it was actually from one of my kids' expat friends who the whole family went to watch a football match together. Then I realized, actually, that's a really nice activity to take with your kid, to go and watch, Singapore Lions play a soccer match. And then they showed pictures of that expat kid wearing the Singapore jersey and everything. And he's not, not PR, not anything at all, but just taking pride in being based here, So that's the kind of efforts you want to see, right? Where people live here and they try to integrate with life here and actually inspire you to also appreciate what you have in your own country. So I guess this guy, what he's doing is somewhere in between those two, where, the riding the Grab bike as part of integrating to society. I'm not 100% sure like whether those two are the same thing. Whether delivering Grab necessarily means they integrate into Singapore society better. But what do you think?
I actually think that because you're delivering food to, I would imagine you sign up as a Grab delivery rider, you can't choose, I only want to deliver to landed houses, right? You get your whole spectrum, right? I actually think it does get you out of your bubble to a certain extent. Like even going into a HDB estate, walking down a corridor and just observing a different way of living, I think actually that, wouldn't say you're connected to the community, but it takes you out of your bubble.
Okay. Yeah. So how about those road cyclists that wear spandex and then they like wear, those aerodynamic
your favorite kind of people.
And then zoom down East Coast screaming at people to get out of the way.
I mean, that one...
They're also cycling around, they're seeing the community space and all that, right?
Yeah, but that one, you are moving bubble.
But you're still in a bubble.
Yeah, you're still in a bubble.
Yeah.
It's like one of those soap bubbles that go along the floor. But this one, I think, because you're going to people's place of dwelling, and there's a very human thing when you're delivering food. As cynical as you want to be about delivery, like these delivery platforms and all, there's a thing about delivering food where, this person just picked up your food.
Yeah.
It's like a waiter. There's that human connection.
Yeah.
And it's not say like they just like there's a robot that comes or a drone. It's still a human. So I think actually it's quite, I see this guy, I'm like, actually this guy's pretty interesting. And I have met Singaporean Grab drivers who are older, retired, obviously don't need to work, but they say they like driving Grab because they can just talk to people. Which to me, I'm like, makes sense. So in this case, I think there is some truth to what he's saying.
So for you, is about the act of service that he does, right? Where he's doing what essentially is a more menial kind of work, right? Where delivering food and providing a service to people, that keeps him grounded, as opposed to the cycling around.
Yeah, I think it's the human to human connection, because you can do menial work even at home, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is that you are meeting people from all walks of life. I think that is quite a nice thing.
So why not do that by volunteering with organizations and stuff like that, as opposed to taking an actual job, right? That involves doing service work and all. Why not volunteer with an organization and you don't make any money or what, but you provide time and everything also. I mean,
I'm not answering on his behalf, but if I was in his shoes, I think this is actually a nice arrangement, because you don't have to, you work when you want to, right? You can kind of donate where you want to, and you have a bit more control about what you do. And I mean, I think he was also quite open saying that it's his me time, which I think, as you are raising a family, like working a hard job, everybody needs me time.
Yeah. So
in this case, of course, on Reddit, people are saying, this one, it's so easy to say you donate money to charity without listing out a charity. Then I'm like, that's possible. But I actually think it's a nice thing to do something like this where you are in control of your own time. If things get busy, you have family stuff, then you just don't do. Whereas working with an organization, it's probably focused on just one area of society. And I think, then there might be an issue with commitment if things get busy and stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you think this would have been as big a story if he wasn't donating the money? Like if he just said, I just do Grab just for the heck of it and
I think less of a story. I think less of a story. But when you read it, was there your cynical side or not? PR stunt by Grab.
I mean, naturally, I would say naturally that comes up. And you try to catch yourself, right? About there are people who do Grab, they cycle Grab to keep fit, right? They admit it as such, to keep fit, to get out of the house and everything. So maybe that's what he's doing here. That's where the donating the money part, I'm like, okay that he makes a tidy amount of money. How much that amount is in relation to what he earns and all that, we don't know exactly, right? But it's not. I don't think it's a huge. I don't think it's a huge amount that makes a big thing for him, But I did think about all those people, including yourself, right? Who do all this. I'm going to run a marathon in Iceland to raise money for what? I'm going to shave my head and dye my hair a different color to raise money forever. I feel maybe this is a much better way of doing it.
Hey, fuck you, okay?
Compared to all that, you want to run marathon and then raise money for it. I think that one is more like
Why?
a bit more narcissistic. It's more about yourself more than anything. Whereas this one, like you said, his act of service, at least it gives allow some human interaction with real people, and it's not just about some esoteric, like, I'm going to go to Iceland and go and run this marathon and I feel great about myself, and I'm going to do it for charity also, by the way, right? So I did feel that this was one step above that.
Okay. Anything else you want to say?
No, the floor is yours. Go ahead. Why don't you tell about the time you shaved your head and everything?
If you are new to this podcast, Terrence's mocking tone just now was in reference to something that I did years ago. So, but let me correct you there, Terrence.
Okay.
You said, would you have any issue with people who just want to run an ultra marathon on their own?
No issue. Yeah.
So, but if they want to run the ultra marathon and then raise money, suddenly they're narcissists.
There's a bit of like, hey, look at me, I'm going to do this crazy, amazing thing, and you need to know about it. And you know what? Because if you don't know about it, you're an asshole because you're not donating money into it. Whereas like, you just run. Why need to tell me? Just run.
No, but what is wrong if there was something that this person was already going to be doing and they thought, okay, this is a nice vehicle to raise some money that actually got raised? I don't know whether you donated because I definitely sent you the link.
Probably.
Yeah, I think you probably did, but you did it very bitterly.
No. I just like, I support your dreams, but don't make it about charity and all this kind of thing.
Why not?
Yeah.
If I'm going to, I would have run regardless, right?
Yeah,
but
correct.
if there was a chance to just raise money for a good cause, what is wrong with that? And that, I think, is a perspective that is very damaging to, like, that whole argument about, you work for a charity, why must you get paid well? Just go and do your own thing. Yeah, I'm fucking going to be running already. But I just use that as an opportunity to raise money. And we raised 3,000.
Okay.
But somehow that makes me damn narcissistic.
Because your act of running in Iceland and all that is so removed from anything that we are doing here in Singapore.
Why doesn't it?
There's like what you just said earlier. There's no act of service or interaction with the community here at all.
I didn't do it to get to know Singaporeans better. I did it because I wanted to run a fucking ultra marathon. But I used that opportunity to raise money for a non-profit in Singapore.
Okay. I'm just saying, it just feels more narcissistic than what this guy is doing here.
This is the problem with society. There's no comparison. Okay,
there's a comparison.
Why?
We just dissected, like, it wasn't the act of cycling around. It's not the act of giving money. It's the act of service that makes him feel like, this is a positive thing, right?
But no, I didn't say it was the act of service. I think the thing he's doing where there's a human-to-human interaction in different places of people's dwelling is what the benefit is.
That makes you feel positive about it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes me feel positive about it also,
Yeah.
Did you have that in your ultra marathon? Was there you interacting with people
but why?
in person?
Why does that need to be something that is part of a fundraising effort?
Doesn't need to be, but that's why I'm saying.
But then you're damn bitter.
No, that's why I'm saying. It just feels much more like self-serving and narcissistic when people like do what you did, which is, I'm going to run ultra marathon and I'm going to raise money for it. Yeah, come and support me and follow along the whole journey. Like,
I didn't say follow.
I don't want to just go and run. Okay, just go and run.
Don't misrepresent. Okay, I did not say follow on with the journey. I just send you a damn link and you donate. Then I never bother you after that. Right. So what's the difference between, say, Nat Dow, who ran 1,000 kilometers in 1 week or something, and you? I mean,
did she raise money for charity?
Yeah, she did.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Then that one out.
But I didn't even know she was raising money for charity. I just like, 1,000 kilometers. That's a pretty amazing personal achievement.
Yeah.
Whereas like the marathons and ultra marathons, I'm like, just go and run, just pay the.
Hey, you think ultra marathon easy, is it?
Just go and run. Don't need to go and tell everybody.
No, please, you have double standards. You only run 900 kilometers. Sorry, I don't care. You run 1,000 kimeters. Wow, that's amazing.
1,000 kilometers across Asia. She
didn't run across Asia. She ran from Singapore to Thailand. Okay?
Yeah. Those are places that are close to the heart of Singaporeans. You go Iceland, some far away place that some people never ever see in their lives at all. Different time zone, different sunset, different sunrise times.
What does that have to do? At the end of the day, the money got raised.
But I'm just saying, it's just very removed from whatever is going on in Singapore and all.
But why does it have to be connected to Singapore? That's my point.
I'm just saying, it's narcissistic. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with that.
Okay, you know what? At the end of the day, I think you did donate, so I appreciate that. I don't give a shit what you think about.
I'm just trying to compare, like, why is it that what this guy is doing here feels positive compared to all this, like, I'm going to run an ultra marathon and losing money. That's what I'm saying. That one feels like what he does here feels positive. What you did just reeks a bit of like Okay, fine. Here's like, someone.
Oh, that makes me want to run another ultramarathon just to piss you off.
Why don't you run an ultramarathon in Singapore? And then like you go from, like HDB block to HDB block.
So that you can feel better about yourself.
No, then I feel everyone will be very positive about it. Then you'll get some coverage like this guy did.
Yeah, but even in this case, he wants to do that and he's coupling it with fundraising. Well, I wanted to run an ultramarathon, not in Singapore, but that makes me a bad person, Terrence.
Not bad person.
No. Yeah, I'm damn narcissistic. Like, I stand in the mirror, hey, how many kilometers you run? You ran this amount of kilometers. So screw you lah, Terrence.
Oh man, wow, all the closets coming out.
No, you are one of the people who go on Reddit and just shit and put a nasty comment, oh, this person want to run in Iceland. Just like how people are shitting on this guy on Reddit now.
There are people shitting him, but I mean, we're here also saying that, ultimately, it's quite positive what he's doing. Maybe if you do this ultramarathon thing, Iceland again, in this day and age, people would have the same kind of reactions online. Why should I give a shit about this Singaporean who wants to run a marathon in Iceland? Just run,
It's an ultramarathon.
Ultramarathon.
But I think, now ultramarathon is also a lot more common. Right?
Yeah.
Like the bar has been raised.
Yeah.
But even if I did this thing on a bicycle, I confirm you will say something. Oh, must do it in Singapore. We talk about all Singapore already. He just wants to see, hey, Singapore, look at me. Confirm, why you never do it in your own estate? Why you never do in your own estate?
Doesn't matter what I think. It's more the general sentiment on the internet that matters. That's
maybe I will. Maybe I will at some point.
You should try this. Try this.
Yeah, I will at some point.
Podcaster by day and delivery rider by night. This local spends his
I think
free
I
time.
did tell you one time that one of my things that I've always wanted to do is run on every kilometer of road in Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? Maybe someday. But also you will complain.
Do for charity.
While you sit at home on your computer, look at this guy, just blah blah blah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I have instances of friends who do that I saw one recently. It's quite sweet. I think it wasn't so much that he was raising money. He was raising money for charity or that, but it was actually more of a family thing that he was trying to do. His kids committed to cycling a certain route in Singapore. He committed to cycling a certain route and everything. And combined, I think they'll be covering a very long distance. So that one, I felt, okay, it's a nice family thing also. So
if I bring my daughter to Iceland, then that one you're like, wow, Harish is amazing.
Maybe it's the to Iceland thing that just... Every time I hear it, I'm like, okay, fine, you want to flex that you're running and going to Iceland or that. Maybe that's the thing. Ultimately, that's the thing, right?
So that is a you problem. Okay?
Yeah.
I think it's
not just
you.
I'm saying that in general, people who live in Singapore, when we hear about these things, we're like, okay, there's this... a bit similar to, remember that there was that lady the Singapore PR who went to space recently. There was some people also questioning about whether is it really an achievement and things like that.
No, I won't deny. I got this one friend. Okay, I don't know whether he listens to this podcast, but he got married in Iceland. My first thought was like, hey, fuck you.
Exactly. I got this one friend who went to run ultramarathon. I'm like, first thought, I was like, fuck you lah. Singapore, no roads to run. Cannot run Singapore.
So if the ultramarathon was in like the Sahara Desert or something.
I mean, that doesn't make a difference.
It's still a douche thing to do in your eyes.
Not say douche lah. I'm just saying a bit of flex lah. You're flexing lah, right?
London?
Huh?
London?
I mean, being able to travel to faraway place to run.
You go Xiamen, find your ancestors all. Everybody can do that.
Yeah, but I didn't, run a marathon there or try to raise money or anything. I just went there for a holiday. Outright, I just say it's a holiday,
But isn't this such a sad case of society, Terrence, where someone tries to do good?
Yeah.
No,
but that's the thing. You frame it as it's immediately just
you
not
are
doing
framing
good.
it your own self.
You're framing it trying to do. You just want to run a marathon, just run a marathon. Nobody's stopping you from running.
But I can do that and also raise money that would otherwise not have been raised.
But then that's why I say the framing of it, people just trying to do good. Just you want to run a marathon, okay, fine.
But how? But then I won't be able to raise that $3,000.
The $3,000, I mean, okay. So if you didn't raise that $3,000, if there wasn't a charity element to it, would you still run?
Yeah,
you would right?
Yeah.
Okay Then that's fine
But isn't it then a missed opportunity that I could have raised money that would have helped some people? Why is that wrong?
In that amount of time you spend training for the marathon or that, are there other things you could have done to possibly raise the same amount for people?
Then people can say, look at these two idiots just sitting down. They can contribute more to society by being out there helping.
Correct,
then it becomes like an argument that there's no end, Terence.
Yeah, there is.
There's no end, Terence.
But I mean, I'm not saying that there's a right or wrong for these things. I'm just explaining
in your
to you.
mind, I think there is.
I'm just explaining to you why sentiment might be in pointing in a certain way for this guy who's riding delivery bikes versus people who run ultra marathons and try to raise money for that way, right?
Yeah.
Different. I think it's taken. People look at it differently, right?
True. But I'm also pointing out that it's a sad thing that when people are trying to do good, Terence.
No. It's like people are not. You don't sit there trying to do good as you click and buy your tickets to Iceland. It's not about I want to do good. I mean, go Iceland.
If I did Iceland without raising the money, I would have done less good.
No. That's the thing. Yeah.
No, see, I think you. Yeah, it's the way people think about these kind of things. Yeah. But I mean, good on this guy, lah. Good on this guy. At the end of the day, that's one thing we can agree on, lah.
Yeah. So I mean, would you be shocked if if a Caucasian person turns up delivering your food?
I would.
You would,
I would.
Okay. I'm a bit less shocked about these things these days.
I've seen it before.
No, because there's all these stories of like Eastern European men who became an aircon contractor and all that, right?
That's true.
So I feel like, okay, that's it's quite more common these days.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
maybe more the fact that he's a high-earning tech worker during the day, that's more shocking, right?
Yeah.
Not so much that he's Caucasian.
Yeah. I think it's becoming more common also, that the diversity it goes both ways.
It goes both ways, yeah.
Yeah, man.
But yeah. Speaking of disgruntled commenters and all that.
Yeah.
What is your one Shiok comment of the week?
My one Shiok comment is someone who commented on Reddit on our last episode, Does Class Size Matter? Is it ever okay to hit a child? Episode 605. There was a comment from Cryizl. So as a Singaporean living in the Netherlands, I want to thank the team for fulfilling my regular dose of Singlish. I listen to every podcast when it comes out and it gives me a vibe of hanging out with my friends in SG. Thank you and keep the great content coming.
Yeah.
I don't think we've had anyone from Netherlands message.
Really?
Oh, have we?
Have.
Oh, have.
Definitely have.
Yeah, okay. But another one in Netherlands.
Another one.
Solid.
Seems like maybe the Netherlands winters are very rough or something like that. They really need like the Singaporean warmth.
Taste of home.
Yeah, the taste of home.
Taste of home. All right, man. Cryizl. We'll be there for you, man.
Yeah.
So that's my one Shiok comment.
My one Shiok comment is curiously from someone named Lawrence, commenting about the Andy Chen episode where we talked about Singpost and Sentosa Music Festival, which I wasn't even there, but somehow I got dragged into it. I'm so happy that Terence is not here to pull down the podcast. He's always there to make sure the government's propaganda is represented. What a sellout. I don't need you to support opposition, but please be neutral. So I don't even understand, because I haven't even weighed in on this whole Singpost thing as well. So where is the government propaganda coming in from, right? That is a peculiar, and it's funny that it's coming from someone named Lawrence also. Like literally named after our Prime Minister also.
That would be my one Shiok comment also if I saw it. Fucking great, yeah.
But what is the government propaganda angle in that story on Singpost? Was there a government propaganda angle? No, right?
I mean, government propaganda. I think Andy was talking about the ownership of Singpost and how the government sits in and it's dealt with that. So maybe if you were on the podcast, you would have been like, no, I think this is a good action by this company that is has government ties and all that lah.
But I would be the first one to also call out like ex-generals in leadership positions or in GLCs and all that.
Yeah.
So how is that government propaganda, right?
Because after that, maybe what you actually say is a lot more government propaganda than that lah. It's like you start off this one, but at the end maybe that's what people hear lah, Terence.
People hear what they want to
hear.
It's
the perception, Terence. It's how people perceive the way you talk, okay? Yeah, it's how people perceive.
Well, that's the dangers, what do you call it, hazards of the job lah.
Yeah, hazards
that people, you try to be devil's advocate and people call you a sellout lah. Yeah.
As you are, like hunting down the ancestry of your family in Xiamen, people still just shitting on you, man.
Yeah, exactly. No, I wasn't even involved in this podcast and suddenly people shitting on me. It's amazing.
Oh, man.
But what is your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing was this article written on this website called The Free Press. Have you heard of The Free Press?
I think so, yes.
It's actually quite cool, man. It was started by a few ex-journalists in the US. Started off as a newsletter, but has grown it to a freaking legit media company that writes articles about American politics and all. Quite neutrally lah. So I was like, oh shit, and reading the story how they built it was cool. But this one article is written by Tim Urban, who is the person behind Wait But Why. You know that blog?
Yes, yeah.
So the title is like, Why I Brought My Toddler to Watch SpaceX Flying Skyscraper. So it was specifically the one where the massive starship went up and then came down to that hugging thing.
Chopsticks, right?
Yeah. So I mean, Tim Urban background, he has written a lot about space and technology, and his blog Wait But Why is amazing.
Yeah.
And at one point a few years ago, Elon Musk himself got Tim Urban to write a long multi-essay long-ass thing about SpaceX and their like hopes to, you know, bring humans to another planet. So Tim Urban has always been a fan of space, but in this article he talks about why he brought his daughter there, and the gist of it is that you know when the moon landing, or like, you know, some people say it didn't happen. I still think it did. The moon landing happened in the 60s.
Yeah.
It felt like, wow, the whole country, it was a huge milestone for humanity as a species. But since then, there hasn't been anything to really think about stuff beyond our planet in space. And no other milestone that has really brought people together.
Yeah.
And he said watching it, like he brought his wife, his daughter there, and first they saw this, he calls a skyscraper, because the starship is huge.
Yeah.
You know, go up in space and come back down, right? All of them just started crying.
Oh, really?
And he said it was just such a reminder that if people come together, of course, whatever you feel about Elon Musk aside, if people come together, they can do this almost unthinkable thing, which has never been done before. And I mean, his writing is damn good. So it was just like a reminder, and why it was so important to bring his daughter there, to just have this belief that amazing things are possible if people come together.
I think, then you'll enjoy that like my one Shiok thing a few weeks ago about Neil deGrasse Tyson and Piers Morgan talking about SpaceX's pursuits in relation to like the moon landing and stuff like that, right? Quite.
That was your last one Shiok thing, right?
Not my last, a couple of episodes back, but it was an interesting discussion about where all these SpaceX's accomplishments, where they lie in the spectrum of human achievement when it comes to space. Interesting discussion.
Cool. And what about your one Shiok thing?
My one Shiok thing is, remember the Singaporean footballer Danielle Tan, who used to be playing for Borussia Dortmund. Then she signed with Brisbane Roar in Australia. So I mean, I think like the first professional Singaporean footballer in Australia or in the women's side, at least, making waves, she. So yeah, she actually just debuted because she's been injured for a while. And she actually just debuted for Brisbane Roar against Canberra United FC. And just something about, I was kind of waiting a bit to see when we can actually watch highlights of her and all. Then I just happened to see, on Instagram, she actually debuted
the highlights,
over the weekend, and there's highlights of the match, which they lost. But Brisbane Roar is like number 2 in the women's league now, like in Australia. So I think we'll be seeing more of her in that league. And it's just cool to see her playing in a professional league and all. Because even Borussia Dortmund, it wasn't a professional thing, it was like an amateur team, right? But now it's like a professional league where like she trains and everything twice a day.
And recently there was a Singaporean 14-year-old girl who got a scholarship to go to Madrid and play.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, solid, man. And I mean, now is the kind of things you're seeing where they're investing in youth in Singapore, sending them abroad, which is great. Yeah, so 14-year-old right winger Noor Ain Saleh has been going to be playing with Madrid CFF youth side.
Yeah.
Oh, solid.
Yeah, so I encourage people to go and watch the highlights because it's just cool seeing like the Singaporean face amongst all the Australian
She's
players.
striker, right?
She's a number 9, right?
Oh,
She's a striker, yeah.
Oh, solid.
So don't think she scored here, but at least you can see her play for real.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Awesome. So remember, please share this podcast with someone who may not have heard of us. Follow us on social media, and
if you want to work with us, go to ministryoffunny.com or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Hell yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody, and talk to y'all soon.